Okay. Um, Welcome everyone to today's webinar, which is focused on funding and recognizing your engagement work, applying for Indiana Campus Compact's grants and our annual award processes. We're very happy to have you with us today. For those that don't know me, I am Laura Weaver. I am our Director of Professional Development and Engaged Learning, and I will let my colleague Liza Bloomquist introduce herself.
I'm Liza Bloomquist, and I am the Director of Communication at Indiana Campus Compact.
As I just mentioned, please feel free to interrupt us throughout the presentation with any questions, but we will also have time for questions at the end. Okay, I was like, oh, I hope I can get my screen to move. As I mentioned today, we are going to focus on available grants, the upcoming deadlines, our processes for grants, applications, and then any frequently asked questions. And for the most part, the same for our awards. And then we will do a brief overview of some other upcoming programs that we have planned for the summer. Quickly, as we look at grants, I want to highlight a few new grants that we have just released with some upcoming deadlines. We have just released a brand new Research with and About Community Engagement grant. We will go more in depth into each of these grants as we move along in the presentation, but I do want to highlight that we have an application deadline coming up for this grant on June 15th, which is in 11 days. So that's why we wanted to have this webinar, because we do have some timely deadlines coming up. In addition to that, many of you are aware that Indiana Campus Compact, in response to the ongoing pandemic around COVID-19, we were able to make available some COVID-19 response funding. And those are connected to our high impact community engagement practices grants and our strengthening communities grants. And we can, again, speak more about that. We will be accepting COVID response funding requests with those two grants during the next 3 granting cycles. So the June 15th cycle, the August 10th cycle, and the November 9th cycle. Additionally, we released 2 limited time grant applications. One is our 25th anniversary faculty fellow, which that application is June 15th as well, and our curriculum development fellow of June 15th deadline. So again, June 15th. I'm going to say that date a lot, and so will Liza, because that is a very important date coming up. So I'm going to start with our research grant. This grant supports original research that is aimed at exploring basically 2 various avenues of research. One is community engagement initiatives around organizational change at institutions of higher education within Indiana. So really looking at how has your institution really looked at community engagement and adapted its structures or its organizational processes, or the effect that community engagement has had on student success during or after college. And we're really looking to fund research projects that are done in participation with community organizations or community members, and that are focused on topics or questions that have come about because the community has determined its importance. So that could look anything from looking at, maybe you are working with a community organization around, I'm going to use a topic that Melanie was looking at earlier, around food insecurity. And that research has come about because food insecurity is something that communities have really determined is something that they're very, very interested in, and that is a concern within the community. And they want to do research about that, but then how does that overlap with the student success? with students? Is it providing additional competencies and learning outcomes for students? Is it bringing into their professional competencies? Is it looking at certain areas within the university, certain disciplinary areas? Is it something that's being embedded across disciplines? And so how is that being worked out? The other area that we are looking to fund is research about the impact of community engagement on organizations. And that could also be done in conjunction with community organizations or at institutions of higher education. So two different streams when we think about that as well. We're really hoping that the research grant can really help to increase the number of seminal pieces of research that we are able to help fund and put out there within the field. When we look at the research grant, we are able to provide awards of up to $5,000 with an institutional match of $1,500 or 30% of the award. So if someone decides they may not need $5,000, they would only need to provide an institutional match of 30% of whatever they decide they need. We will be accepting proposals within our next 4 funding deadlines for the research grant. So the June 15th, August 10th, November 9th, and February 8th deadlines. So February 8th, 2021 is the last time that someone can apply during this funding cycle for a research grant. And we have really thought through that quite a bit, knowing that a lot of times these research grants take a longer amount of time. And we want to make sure that all of our researchers have enough time to complete their projects in the allotted number of time. We have also really thought a lot about eligibility for the research grant, and we want to make this inclusive as possible, but then also encourage partnership along this end. And we have made eligibility available to senior administrators who have the purview of community engagement responsibilities within their responsibilities, faculty from any discipline and at any level, as long as they are at a 50% employment with the institution, community engagement professionals, again, who have community engagement as a part of their responsibilities. And within that category, we want to ensure that there's a partnership with their offices of institutional research and effectiveness professionals. We really want to ensure that there's some sort of partnership there with data gathering. We also would like to make this available to graduate students, especially doctoral students who are looking to fund some of their doctoral research with this. We encourage community partners to be brought on as co-PIs within this experience. And again, projects must be completed by May 31st, 2022. So I know that was a lot about the research grant in a pretty quick amount of time, but this is a brand new grant that we have just released, and the RFP is available on our website. So for folks to really kind of look through in a more deep way. And I do see that Donna has joined us. So welcome, Donna. Okay, don't see any questions on the research grant yet. So we'll move on to our COVID-19 response funding. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of our call, we were able to make available some funding as it connects to our high impact community engagement practices grant and our strengthening communities grant to provide availability of funding specifically around COVID-19 response. So these grants, we are really encouraging institutions to think about how they're leveraging their resources to support community stakeholders as we look and move through this global crisis. And we're really encouraging you to think creatively about what that looks like and to really respond to the local communities. Again, we will be accepting proposals during our June 15th, August 10th, and November 19th deadlines. And when you're looking at this, you should still respond to the prompts within each of those individual grants. But we have provided some example funding project ideas because we have received a lot of questions around what this could look like. So we are making allotments for folks who want to purchase additional supplies because maybe they are going to be using 3D printers to produce personal protective equipment, and they need to purchase the actual supplies that you use in the 3D printers. Those would be allowable costs. We are really encouraging folks to partner with their K-12 institutions and even preschool institutions to really help encourage thinking about how is that institution going to be planning for or implementing delivery moving into the fall, or even help mitigating learning loss that may have occurred. Going back to Melanie's example with food insecurity, we have had a lot of questions around partnering with local food pantries to assist with food collection and distribution and how that can be done in a really mindful way within this aspect. Even so far as when we embed it within classes and thinking about our own classes, if an institution needs to think about adapting a class into a full online community engagement class, those types of funding requests would be appropriate as well. Being able to bring in to do training at a university level would be something that would be able to be funded under these types of grants. Questions specifically around the COVID-19 response. Okay.
I do have a question, Laura.
Yeah.
In regard to the assisting with pre-K through 12 institutions, I was kind of thinking of working with a local Christian school, King's Academy, and trying to help them because they don't have many resources. What would you see that looking like?
So it just depends how I would definitely start the conversation with the school. So talking with them and seeing what types of preparations maybe they already have made, and seeing where they might already need assistance, because they may have done some planning or may have already received some direction from the State Board of Education. And then being able to think about, is there a piece that they are really feeling like they need assistance with? And maybe that is a piece around training their educators. Maybe there is a piece around additional mentoring support, that maybe it's a piece that students can directly be involved in. And maybe that's from a technology piece. And how do we think through what that looks like? Maybe it's from a piece of working to expand or repurpose some of the technology resources that your institution has to further support the school. So I think it's going to look different in each situation depending on what your individual and local schools need, and what maybe they already have put in place. So I think starting that conversation with the school first and being very open with them and saying, you know, we have an opportunity to potentially work and support the efforts that you're doing, and we have an opportunity to apply for some funding around it. And then we can continue to converse and dialogue to think through what that would look like.
Okay, that sounds great. Thanks.
I know that's kind of vague, but also it can be really helpful just to start that dialogue with the community first.
Right.
Yeah. And so I can give you an example. I've been in conversation with someone who is intending to apply for one of these grants, working with a local food pantry. And they had a lot of questions around, could funds be utilized to purchase PPE as well as materials to actually package food in to ensure that when it's being distributed, it's safe and that the workers were safe. And I said, yes, that is what the funding is intended for. They were also wondering about what if they needed to rent a vehicle or anything like that to actually drive food to local pickup spots. And I'm like, yes, those would be also expenses that could be covered. So if that kind of helps in thinking what that may look like.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thanks.
This year, we are fortunate enough to continue our partnership with the Campus Election Engagement Project to offer out our electoral engagement grant. It is going to look a little bit different this year than it has in the past, but we're very excited to have this model again. So for those of you that are not familiar with our electoral engagement grant, this has always been something that we've offered continuously, and it has adapted a little bit from year to year. This year is, as in the past, is going to be a design to assist campuses around promoting student voter participation and voter education. Also to help universities think about developing new programming to encourage further student involvement in and with their communities that move beyond the election cycle. So what does that look like? And how can these electoral engagement or election civic engagement partnerships with communities move beyond this election and this election cycle? And so that's one of the things that we're really encouraging these partnerships to look like and to grow, so that we aren't just having students engaged during elections, that we're having students really think about what does it really mean to be engaged within our democratic process throughout their entire life cycle. These projects are going to be led by an election engagement student fellow, and then supported by a faculty or staff member that's going to be an election engagement advisor. Through our partnership with the Campus Engagement Election Project this year, they are generously going to be awarding every single student fellow $1,000 for their work. So that's through our partnership with SEEP. We're going to be able to award $1,000 to every student fellow for their work. In addition, we are able to award each institution $500 plus an additional $150 cash match through the institution that can be utilized for programming for the events that you would be encouraged to and be planning throughout the fall as leading up to the election. So this can really, really help make an impact on educating students, faculty, the community about the importance of continuing to be involved and engaged on within this process. Again, I was like, where's the application deadline? Of course, it is June 15th. If there's going to be one date that you need to remember right now, those application deadlines are June 15th. This project does begin August 3rd, and it will end November 13th, so just after the election. Students will also be involved not only on your campus, but they'll be connected across the state of Indiana to, there'll be a group of 10 electoral engagement fellows in the state of Indiana. They're also going to be connected to a national network of student fellows with SEEP. So that's really exciting that they're going to be able to connect with peers across the country. And I'm currently working with folks in Kentucky and Ohio to put together a voter summit, so a student voter engagement summit that will most likely be held virtually, to really help increase that awareness. And that would be open to anybody, but something that we would like to have our student fellows really help plan and be on the ground with. Questions that I have received related to this grant already. A couple of questions and concerns that people have had is that they may not be able to identify their student fellow right now before June 15th. And that is okay. If you are unable to identify your student fellow before June 15th, go ahead and submit the application. The electoral engagement advisor, so that faculty or staff member who is going to lead the project, should submit the application and indicate that. Student fellows would need to be in place or selected by that August 3rd when the project begins. So we do understand that with how the spring semester has run, that we can give a little bit of leeway on ensuring when that student fellow is in place. Other questions around our election engagement grant? Okay. High impact community engagement practices grant. So this is a grant that we have had for the last 18 months. And many folks are pretty familiar with it, but I do want to run through it quickly. This does support the development and implementation of high impact community engagement practices, not just in courses, but also in co-curricular experiences. So this is a really great grant if you're thinking about how these types of experiences transcend beyond coursework. We really want to ensure that they have an emphasis on intentional community engagement practices, and that they're moving beyond those one-time reciprocal community partnerships, and that they're moving into more of this authentic realm. And they should really strengthen student learning and further support community engagement across your campus. Typically, these projects last 6 to 12 months, but we have had some projects that have transcended that year mark for one reason or another, and that's something that we are very open to exploring funding if it is going to be something that is going to move into that 12 or 18-month period. These, again, are something that occur in a curricular or co-curricular space and involve undergraduate research that's community engagement based, something that is your traditional thought of service learning in your courses. So anything within that realm. These are funded of $2,500 awards with a $750 cash match. And we have quarterly deadlines with, of course, a June 15th deadline coming right up. We have eligibility for senior administrators, faculty, professional staff, and then also graduate students. So that is a change from previous years, is that graduate students can be PIs. And of course, projects must be completed by May 31st of 2022. Our Strengthening Communities grants, these are grants that really support a range of campus community engagement projects, anything from your place-based one-time opportunities, so things like alternative spring breaks, alternative fall breaks, one day Martin Luther King Day type experiences, any of your service day experiences, to those ongoing engagement projects. A weekly youth mentoring project, maybe you have a series event where you have a monthly community engagement type of day that you do, or a training or advocacy initiative. So maybe you see the need for a dialogue training to happen or occur on campus for students, or a train the trainer type of event for students or for faculty or staff, or maybe you want to hold a town hall event around a particular topic. So those are all types of events that can be community engagement projects that can be supported through our Strengthening Communities grants. Again, high quality community campus partnerships, but these projects are typically shorter in nature. So typically last from 2 to 9 months. $1,200 awards with a $360 cash match. We do have a quarterly deadline for these, with a deadline, the first one coming up June 15th. Same eligibility of faculty, professional staff, graduate students. Undergraduate students can be a co-PI on these grants as long as they have another person with them as a PI. So this is a really great opportunity for undergraduate students to really engage in that grant writing experience. So, process for grants. These are our the newer grants that we have had, but this is the process. So community partners definitely as a co-educator, co-collaborator on all of our grants. They do all require some sort of letter of support. So that's something that we have traditionally always had as a part of our grants. We encourage you to work with someone either on your campus, a campus colleague, maybe tap into one of your liaisons on your campus, to your Indiana Campus Compact liaisons on your campus, to have them take a look at your proposal. You can always contact me to see past proposals or to talk through an idea that you may have. Definitely, as soon as you are thinking about applying for a grant and have decided, yes, I want to apply, immediately contact either your sponsor programs, your grants office, your budget office, whatever that office is named at your campus, to figure out what is my process, how do I ensure that I'm applying, going through the right steps at my campus to apply for these, and talk it over with your department chair. I'm sure those of you that have served in that capacity that are on the call would appreciate that bit of advice. The biggest two changes that we have now with our grant process is the first being that you now must provide 7 weeks lead time of submission. So you'll see that all of our grant deadlines, within all of our applications, you must submit your application at least 7 weeks prior to when your project is going to start. So always think about that and work your way back to make sure you're submitting in time, submitting to the correct deadline in time. The other thing is that all of our grants are submitted through our engagement portal. And I am going to switch over to show our engagement portal so that everyone can kind of see what that looks like, and talk about that process very quickly. Before I do, any quick questions? I'm going to pause really quickly. Okay, I am going to stop sharing this screen and share a different one. So, our engagement portal is our new area for applying for grants, registering for all of our new professional development opportunities. And this is an opportunity and a way for us to really streamline all of those processes, but then also to ensure that we are capturing all of the amounts of data that we need in order to support you in the best way. Each individual who applies for funding and wants to submit a grant would need to do that and create their own user profile within our engagement portal, and then would apply for funding under this funding tab and submit a new request. For those that have submitted grants in the past 18 months since we have, or the past year since we've had the engagement portal, this is a little bit different processes as a first page that you will end up with. You're going to see this welcome page first, where you will go ahead and select which opportunity you would like to apply for. So I'm going to just click on the research with and about community engagement, and it will take you into the application process. This is going to give you information about the grant opportunity. You will need to, once again, select the grant that you want, and then move through all of the parts of the application. What is nice about the portal is it allows you to put your information in as well as upload documents that you have already prepared. These documents and this process matches the RFPs that we have on our website so that you can pre-prepare everything and then choose to upload it. We do ask that you upload like your professional headshot and bio, and then put information in about co-investigators. We actually ask that the primary investigator is the one that submits under their profile rather than submitting under an institutional profile. So I'm going to use Mike as an example. Mike, if you were going to submit a grant, you would go into your individual profile and submit a grant under your name and your information. If you were going to have Donna as a co-investigator, you would just enter in her information here. Donna does not need to go in and resubmit that grant. You would just submit it together within your profile, Mike. It does ask for all of your fiscal manager's information, and in order for us to ensure that you have properly routed it through your institution, it will have you will have had to have your fiscal officer's signature on your budget document. That is a part of the RFP processes that we have as a downloadable document on our website. So we hope that this is a fairly easy process. If you have any technical difficulties as you move through the engagement portal, you can contact Summer Webb. And her information is on this page, but her email address is just summer@indianacampuscompact.org, and she can help you with any technical difficulties with using the engagement portal. We also have on our website, under the login page, a full user guide for how to use the engagement portal, as well as how to create a login for the first time. So if anyone hasn't created a login yet, we do have that information as well. Questions about the portal, submitting an application, creating a user? Okay.
Laura?
Yes, Mike.
You had said something about a signature, and I was trying to read what you had said there. Was it a real signature, a handwritten signature, or is there a type-in signature?
So I'm going to go back. So this right here for the signature of grant terms and conditions, is this the part that you were reading?
Yes.
So this box you will type into at the bottom. You will adhere to any terms and conditions for each specific grant. And then you do just type into this box. The signature that I was referring to is on our RFP. And actually, I'm going to scroll up and I'll show you the document I was talking about.
For the fiscal manager.
So if we download one of the...
Yeah, I have a hard copy in front of me.
Yeah, so if we...
For the grant.
Yeah, so yes, so if you are looking at one of our application RFPs, typically it's the very last page, is this fiscal form. And on the fiscal form, this is where you would detail out all of your expenditures that you would want to, that you'd be applying for. The very bottom, it does require a principal investigator and fiscal manager signature. This signature can either be an actual hard signature or what they call a wet signature. So you can actually print this out, sign it with your pen, or we do accept the electronic signatures through the PDF. So either one can be utilized on here. So we know that some institutions have like the secure signature. We can accept those, this doc as well, or print it out, actually sign it with a pen and scan it in. Either one is fine. They do need a signature on the bottom. And so that from your fiscal manager, that document then gets uploaded into the portal.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is that helpful?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on related to the portal? Okay. Any other questions around grants right now? Okay. We, again, if you think of anything, more than happy to talk about them or answer questions at the end. I'm also more than happy to schedule time independently of this. I have an easy way that you can schedule time independently just to talk about grants where you can view my calendar on your own. And so I can share that information at the end. I am going to now turn this over to Liza, and she is going to talk with you about our new awards nomination processes.
Thank you. And we'll see if I can move the screens like I did earlier when we were practicing. Maybe. Oh, here we go. Okay. So those of you who have worked with us for a while know that we have had our student, faculty, staff awards for quite a while. And it kind of has gone in order where we started with a student award years and years ago. Then we came up with a faculty award, and then a community engagement professional award, and then a community partner award. Since then, we have listened to our advisory council. We've listened to concerns and questions from some of our other folks who we interact with. And they felt, and we agreed, that there needed to be a place for junior faculty to be able to be rewarded for what they're doing and acknowledged, and also for students who are just kind of getting started with this, and or who have a more narrow experience where they're kind of working on one thing instead of pulling in other students together to start something new. So this is how our awards program has evolved a bit. And I know that some of you probably are familiar with our Engaged Campus Award, and we have decided that that award is only going to go every 5 years. So the next time that any campus will be able to apply for the Engaged Campus Award will be 2022, January of 2022, and it will be due in May of 2022. So for this year, these awards are due on, I bet you can guess, June 15th. And we have 6 opportunities. And I made up the little bingo card just because those are the words that if you start thinking about who do you know that has a bingo, that, you know, even probably a lot of people you know have all of those spaces filled. So that's something that an easy way I thought maybe people could start putting their heads around, well, who should I nominate? So folks who fit those categories. And you'll see that you just go to our website /award/nominate, and you can find all the awards. So let me tell you a little bit about each one. Laura's an old hat at presenting. I'm not, so I'm getting nervous and you'll hear lots of ums and stumbling probably, sorry. So the Student Community Action Leaders Award, that was one of the awards that I was talking about. And something important to know about this is that we will have multiple winners in this category. So if you nominate somebody from your campus, they are going to be recognized as a student leader at our summit. And not just anybody will do. It's not like we're saying, you know, you can put any student up at all, but we know that you only will put up students who have made a difference and who are kind of emerging as leaders in the community and on campus as well. But they don't have to be as active as you would have to for the Wood Award. That is just, it's more of a, you know, it keeps growing and growing and growing. This is where, these are for new emerging leaders for students. And you can read this, it's for, it's action-based and issue-oriented projects. So kind of like Laura was talking about plunges and one-day kinds of things. These students are more apt to be involved in plunges or a certain topic that they're very focused on. But they have to have clearly demonstrated that they're an activist, they're an advocate, they raise awareness, and that they are community action leaders. Does anybody have any? Okay, can a student award go to someone who just graduated? No, unfortunately, it can't. I'm sorry, Donna. We want to be able to recognize, they have to be currently enrolled for this spring for 2021. So, I mean, wait, we're in 2020, yes. They'll have to still be enrolled. They need to be enrolled for the 2021 year so that the summit, our award ceremony at the summit in February is where they'll be honored. Does anybody have any other questions about this new award and how it works?
This is Melanie, can they, like I have one who just graduated, but they're gonna enroll in grad school. Could they be eligible or not?
This is for undergraduates.
Okay.
So unfortunately, no. We think about the graduate student though that you have in mind, and because we'll be coming to a different award that might apply to them. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay. This is moving so slowly. I don't want to move ahead too many slides. Sorry. I'm not doing a very good job controlling your screen, Laura. Here we go. Okay. The original award that we've had is the student, the Wood Award, which is named after the first board chair of our Indiana Campus Compact. Richard J. Wood was Earlham. And he believed that students are stewards to the community, and they have a deep ability to be able to be good stewards of the work, to be able to connect campuses and communities closely and with some longevity. And these are the students who are able to, sorry, it's recycling day. It's pretty loud, isn't it? These are the students who are able to take on long-term positive change and to think about students who might be able to replace them once they graduate, and to think about kind of inner workings of the campus, of the community, and really bring together a big group of students who are able to work together to make change. So can you see the little, my bullet points pretty well? So sustainability is something you can think about. You can think about more of a campus-wide kind of a swath that they're making. And this one, we can only have, and I know this is hard to wrap your head around. It only goes for freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, or anybody who or 5 year. If you're on the 5-year plan, you can be a first-year senior knowing you're going to be there again. But you need to be able to be on campus again for the next year in order to build more student engagement on your campus with sustainability in mind. So that's an important thing to keep in mind too. This one, all of the nominees will be acknowledged, but only one winner. So unlike the other student award where everybody will be acknowledged and they will all be considered student leaders, we will have one Wood Award winner, and that winner will receive a plaque and a cash gift of $500. Does anybody have any questions on this one? Okay, we must be very good at presenting, Laura. Nobody has any questions. There are times of charm, I guess, on moving this. There we go. Okay. And Melanie, this is the one that I was thinking. This could be for graduate students. So as long as they're a TA. So this is Emergency Leaders in Community Engagement Award, and it's for I don't want to say junior faculty, but faculty who are early career faculty or graduate teaching assistants. This award is also going to be a you can have multiple emerging leaders. So at our summit, we will have all of the emerging leaders. One from each campus would be great, but we'll have each one will be honored at the campus. And they are also emerging in their career. And it could be that they are emerging in their career, or that they could be just kind of getting into community engagement. So that's another thing to be thinking about as well on this one. And they need to make unique and innovative contributions. We're looking for people who, it's become so trite, but kind of think outside the box. And there's a goal. This is to help start this foundation of a lifetime of leadership and engaged scholarship work. I think I had a question here. Let me see. Oh, for the other one, someone just starting their senior year could not get it. That's right. Yes, unfortunately for the Wood Award. They could get the emerging leaders or the student action leaders, community action leaders award. So that was not this emerging leaders. Does anybody have any questions on this new award? Okay. And Melanie, does that kind of help you as someone's going to graduate, but is coming back as a graduate assistant, a teaching assistant?
Yes, except they're going to go to a different campus, but we'll figure it out.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. And as you start thinking more about these awards and thinking more about people who you think you would want to perhaps nominate, between now and June 15th, if you have any questions, feel free to pick up the phone and give me a call or email me, and we can talk specifics. Sometimes it's a little bit easier instead of saying, well, if this happened or that happened, it might be easier for you to say, this is who I have in mind, will this work? And I'm happy to help anytime.
Thank you. Great.
Sure. Okay, there we go.
Liza, I have a really quick question for you that popped into my a general question.
Oh, okay.
But it popped up when Melanie made a comment. It doesn't matter who nominates someone, correct?
Correct.
So Melanie could nominate someone at a completely different institution.
Oh, well, that's an interesting point. Each award has to have you have to have letters of recommendation from the student's campus, but it would make sense then, Melanie, for you to write one and then maybe work with somebody who's at the campus where the student is going, the grad student is going. Yes. So you could probably work in tandem with somebody at the new campus.
Great, thank you.
Sure. The Heltunen Award, we have a Heltunen Award winner right here, Mike Giebert. This is an award, it was named for Brian Douglas Heltunen, who was our first program person. He did everything, and he started the Faculty Fellows Program, a beloved, brilliant man who whose life was cut very short. But he really believed in the scholarship of engagement. And Laura might be able to talk to a little bit more about how deep the scholarship of engagement needs to be part of this award. And I'm in charge of the awards, but I also, on something like this, Laura's the expert, Mike is also an expert. This is a really high level award and a great honor to have. And you need to bring in your fellow faculty and mentor them and help them, and not officially mentor, but you spread your scholarship of engagement. You need to be published in scholarship of engagement. This needs to be part of your work. This needs to be ingrained in who you are and what you do. So I don't know, Laura, if you want to add anything else to kind of, I mean, you've reviewed this award a million times too. So you or Mike, either one, if you want to say anything about it.
Yeah, I think you did a great job at talking about that. I think that's, it's really key when we think about faculty who exemplify what this award is all about, is that faculty member who has positioned community engagement at the center of not only their teaching philosophy, but their research philosophy, and have really embedded that, not just for like 1 or 2 years within their career, but throughout their career. So if we think about it from a scaffolding perspective, they may have started off early in their career thinking about what this looks like, incorporating it into their coursework, working with some community partners, and then really move through that realm of digging more deeply into the research, publishing within this area. And that can be seen throughout their CV. And those are the types of individuals that we really look for and are exemplars for receiving this award. We do have many Hiltunen Award winners that have then gone on to be nominated for and even recognized at the national level. So that kind of gives you that level. And I think Mike is a great representation of an award winner for the Hiltunen Award.
Any questions about that? And something I should have said earlier too, if because I want to be mindful this is being recorded, and so if we don't have questions, I kind of need to think ahead, I think, about what other folks might be thinking. But if anybody nominates somebody for an award and that person doesn't get it, I do hope that they would nominate either themselves again or nominate that same person again. We have had, especially on the Hiltunen Award, we have had folks who are just so close, and we have such great such great applicants or nominees that it's very difficult to. Mike has helped us review as well, so it's difficult to, and same with students. And so the awards where there's only one winner and multiple nominees, those nominees are really outstanding as well. So I do encourage anybody who's watching this later to apply if that's not if you don't get it the first time.
I would completely agree with that. From serving on many of these award committees, from the faculty award to the community engagement professional award, it is so difficult to be a reviewer. I will read the applications and like, and especially when I was at a campus, and I'd be like, I don't know, like they're so close. And many times it comes down to just one small thing within the criteria. So yes, please continue to apply year after year for these awards. We're very fortunate here in Indiana to have really exemplar scholars.
Mm-hmm. We sure are. Mike, did you take unmute yourself to say anything, or just was that an accident?
I was, before Laura chipped in there, she said exactly what I was going to say.
Oh.
It's important. Try again.
Okay. Great. Does anybody have any questions? And I guess just to keep in mind that some folks may watch this, it could go viral, who knows. If you have questions, please let Laura and me know. We would be happy to answer them. Okay. I'm trying to, there we go. This is an award that we created maybe 7 or 8 years ago, because we started thinking about how much work the community engaged professional does in his or her work with faculty members and students, and community partners. This person is somebody who also feels it in their bones and, cares about community engagement and knows how to work the different channels that you have to work. One has to work when you're in this job. So you work with faculty and you give them information about grants and professional development. You also, hi Sarah, you also work with students and help them navigate the various systems that they need to go through to be able to be part of community engagement on their campus. And then you're a great advocate for this work as well. And you work with administrators. So you are wearing a lot of hats when you're a community engagement professional. And it's a difficult job. I think Laura can attest to that, because she was one before she came to Indiana Campus Compact, and she did a great job. She has won this award, actually, when she was still at PNC. And this is also a one-person winner, so a one winner award. And it is something that I hope that if folks have applied and they didn't, the same thing goes for this award, that I hope that you would apply again. And we do have some community engagement professionals who are also faculty members. So don't shy away from this if you do teach a course. I think Laura was teaching when she won the award. So you don't have to be strictly professional staff with no teaching at all. So just keep that in mind as well, too.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Or if you were faculty and your role has now transitioned into more of an administrative role over community engagement at your institution. I know sometimes that can be a really, you really are then sitting in between those two worlds. So really, I encourage those individuals who see themselves in both of those areas, or to really think about this award. I know for many community engagement professionals, we don't really think about applying for awards. Please do. I know I felt that way when back when I applied for it, but this is a really great award to be nominated for and recognized. And actually it's, I look over because I have it sitting here in my home office. And it is one of the awards that I actually really, really cherish. So I do encourage you to, I think it's a great award.
And I'm sorry, I think Laura and I are both saying nominate and apply, and we wanted to make it super easy. So the nomination forms are short, very, very short. There, for the Hiltunen Award, there are more documents that go with it, but we wanted it to be a nomination because I think a lot of folks don't want to just apply because it's kind of embarrassing to be tooting your own horn. So if you are somebody who would kind of want to hint around to somebody that it'd be nice if they nominated you, feel free. But we've had people be nominated who didn't know that they were nominated until the end, where they have to write some sort of an essay. And so it's a really nice, it's an exciting part of the summit, I think, for folks to get up, and everybody's so excited when you hear a lot of wow, wow, wow. So that's nice. So does anybody have any questions about that? Okay. We'll see if I can go to the next slide, maybe. Okay. And then this is the last award that's available to nominate somebody for this year. It's a, oh no. I didn't make my community partner slide. So sorry, guys. I copied and pasted and never wrote anything there. Melanie, oh, bye. I'm just going to talk off the top of my head for this one because I know it. It's also due June 15th, and please don't look at the winner will receive a plaque. This is all the community engagement professional. I messed up. The community partner award is also a multiple award winner award. So you've got the emerging scholars, community partner, and the Student Leaders Award. So those 3 awards, everybody will be acknowledged for their work. And what we had in mind with the Community Partner Award was that so often community partners at the end of the year, and I know it was different this year, it's going to be an interesting kind of thing, but so often campuses have recognition for their community partners at some sort of an event or something. And we thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if we were able to recognize all of them? And because we know it's so important for our campuses, the relationship they have with these community partners, to be able to recognize the community partners. So the kind of community partner who we would want to recognize would be somebody who is a co-educator with students, who is able to help with the sustainability of the relationship, and who really kind of puts himself out there for these students, and who co-educates the students. I think we have had such great creative community partners who have spent so much time with students and working with them. And Laura Wilson, I know that you're one of your community partners won last year, and I know you didn't personally work with them. I think Mariana did, but I think that if you knew anything about that partnership, or if anybody, maybe Taylor knows too, it's a very important part of students' work, and to have a good community partner who doesn't just have students file and who teaches them something about the world, it's an important part of their career, I think, as students.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody has any questions about the community partner award. I'm sorry about the not having the bullet points for you there, but I think I was thinking about this yesterday because I was doing my slides yesterday, that I might put the bullet points up with the awards. And so you can download the award applications, but I'm hoping to have a real clear picture of what a person or community partner would need to have to be part of, to be nominated. So there's a chat. I want to see if, oh, Megan's saying bye. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? If not, I'm going to turn control back over to Laura.
Liza, I have a question for you. And
okay.
this is a question that I actually was thinking about. What is the process for folks to apply/nominate?
Oh, okay. On our website, would you mind pulling up the website, Laura?
I can do that. I will do that.
You will see that there's a brief description of each award on tabs, and then there is a nomination form, and it is 2 pages long. So here it is in all its glory. It gives you the eligibility, and you fill out a very small little blurb or a form about who you're nominating.
Okay.
And then it goes to contact us at incampuscompact.org.
Okay, so it's an email process.
It's an email process. Thanks Laura for reminding me about that. We have not made this something that goes through the portal yet.
Okay. Okay, so we have the PDF.
Yes. And
Okay.
unfortunately, I noticed that still says May 15th, but it's due June 15th. We felt like we needed to give some extra time since at the beginning of the spring, it was a little hectic in everybody's world.
And so we download and we type into or write into this form.
Yes, and then if
Okay.
you go back up, Laura, there'll be a little checklist of what you need to submit with that form.
Okay.
Yep. Nominators, please submit the following. And that's the same for all of the awards. It's a form, just like that.
And to clarify, if I wanted to, I could nominate myself.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you, Laura Weaver, could not.
No,
You,
me,
Donna
Laura
Downs,
Weaver.
could.
Okay. So I, as Laura Weaver, employed
Yes.
by Indiana Campus Compact, am not eligible for any of these
Right.
awards.
But somebody could nominate themselves. That's a great point. Yes, absolutely. You would need to work with some other folks on your campus because you can't write all of your own letters.
Correct.
Yes.
But I was wondering that as well. I know that was how it was in the past, you could,
Mhm.
but I wanted to make sure of that. See, sometimes even we have questions of each other.
That's right.
So there is the award page, and you can see it outlines all of the awards. And here's the community partner award information and the nomination packet for that award. And you can also see all of the past winners on these pages.
Mhm.
If there aren't any questions, what I will do is just also point out we have just some other upcoming opportunities we have for the summer. As a part of our Camp Compact 2020, we have released all of the information that we have thus far for Camp Compact, which includes our 3-part colloquium that you can be involved in, which part 1, which will be starting later this month, is all focused on developing online community engagement experiences, so primarily courses. That will be beginning June 18th, I believe, is our first session. Yes, June 18th is the first session, and then continuing on the subsequent Thursdays through the middle of July. We also then will be offering again this year our Service Learning Institute at a virtual experience, and that is really looking at if you're interested in learning more about the traditional community engagement experiences and high impact experiences. We will not be going over how to move those experiences to an online environment, but for those that have taught online before, you should be able to make that transition. But this will be going over more of information on traditional community engagement sessions. That begins, we will have one session June 30th, and then moving through the entire week of July 13th for that experience. And then again this year, we will have our Critically Engaged Teaching Seminar the week of July 20th. So July, again, going to be a very busy month. And this focuses a lot in on how do you intersect critical theory and community engagement. And we have some great facilitators from some of our past faculty fellows classes who have really focused in a lot on critical community engagement work. And so we have 4 sessions the afternoon of the week of July 20th that will be focusing in on those topics. All of these will be offered virtually via via Zoom, and we'll incorporate, some of them will also incorporate some asynchronous learning via Canvas for folks. And we'll have also a digital resource hub that folks will be able to tap into to get additional resources and readings related to all the topics. We will be beginning our ICC Reads session for the summer. It will begin, it'll be taking place on Mondays in June and July, with focusing in on how do we think through faculty development programs, especially in the time of COVID-19 or in the time of needing to do things from a virtual perspective. So really helping individuals develop plans that they can implement in the fall or in the spring around faculty development in virtual settings. So that is an opportunity. We'll be meeting from 10 a.m. to 11:30 on Mondays in June and July, starting Monday, June 22nd. And that's going to be facilitated by Lindsay Payne and Carly from Purdue University. So we're very excited about that. And then we've got several single session webinars that will be going on the rest of the summer. And we are still actually working to add in a few additional single session webinars later in the summer and then working into the fall. So we're working I'm working collaboratively with our partners in Ohio and Kentucky around a dialogue series for the fall. So keep watching our summer series website for more information on a lot of these offerings. And you register for all of these in our portal system.
So the big takeaways, June 15th, portal for everything except for the awards.
Yes.
Yep.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. Liza and I will both stay on for a little bit in case folks have individual questions about projects or want to connect with us further. But we thank you for joining us for the first in our summer series webinar series, and we look forward to chatting with you further.